Are they somehow underrated, even though they are so undefeated?
I believe that they are. I believe that because we haven't seen them do it in prime time and in the postseason. It's the same thing with, is Josh Allen, is he for real? Well, can he beat Mahomes? What about Baltimore? Can they get beyond their woes in the postseason? So, yes, there's a real thing to, I've seen these teams do it, so you give them more credit. But let's look at history of the league. In the last 10 years, 13 teams have started the season 6-0. Good news is 5 of those teams go on to represent their conference in the Super Bowl.
Is that true?
So, yes, this is a real thing. You don't see good teams win 6 games in a row. So for me, yeah, you see teams 2-game win streak, 3-game win streak, but you put together 6, and they've had injuries. This hasn't been clean. You know, typically you have no injuries, no turnovers. That's how you're able to get on a run like this. But they are so talented. And my last remark is, I don't care how long we've been playing this game. 99% of all the players that ever played, I'm talking about gold jackets, we need a system. There's only one Jim Brown, he didn't need a system. But the rest of us, we need a system. And that's what Kyler Murray has with Cliff Kingsbury. You need talented, explosive players around him, and you need enough protection. I remember when they hired Cliff Kingsbury, they said, can he protect him? They have put the protection there. They got the explosive players around you. What they're doing in Arizona, it's real.
6-0, an incredible win over the Rams by multiple scores. I like a lot of what they have going on, especially that they're shedding their dumb stereotypes about them, that they're a pretty boy team, a soft team, the cell phone breaks and all that stuff. No, they just had a really gritty win against a tough team without their head coach. Like, they seem to be mentally tough. And yet I actually have to have an honest conversation here. There's some reason I don't trust them, and I can't put my finger on why. I think it's because they have a lot of guys who haven't been there or haven't succeeded once they're there. What do I mean? Like, obviously, Kyler doesn't have the playoff experience. I look at J.J. Watt and DeAndre Hopkins as guys who go to the playoffs and lose in the first round. I look at A.J. Green as the same exact way. Like, my connective tissue with those guys as a fan is they're the guys who lose in the playoffs. They're 6-0. They look really good. I'm really impressed. If they had a playoff game this weekend in the divisional round and they're hosting the Packers or the Bucks or the Cowboys, am I picking them? I'm not yet. And maybe that's unfair to them because all they can do is win. There's a lot of guys in the NFC who played a lot of good football and really meaningful games, and I still think they have some ground to make up in that regard.
What about how they beat the Rams? Does it change your opinion a little bit?
But they won by 17 points. It was awesome.
Yeah.
It was an early October game. The burden they have of being 6-0 is we're like, if you're 6-0, Chris is talking about you getting to the Super Bowl, not the wild card round, not the divisional round. Now they have the expectations. I love the Rams win.
They beat the Packers week 8. You feel differently?
Yeah. That's a massive one. It's in a couple weeks. Yes, I do.
They've done everything they possibly could do at this point, right? Like, they just went to Cleveland and won by more than 20 points. I feel you on that, and I don't think there's anything they can do. Even winning against the Packers, you probably still would take the Packers in the playoffs because of all the stuff that the Packers... And that's not anything that they can do in the regular season. They're going to have to do it in the playoffs. But for them to be where they are right now, that's pretty amazing. I thought yesterday's performance was incredible given the circumstances. So Kingsbury gets the positive test on Friday, and he's not going to make the trip. He can't communicate with his team. Spencer Whipple called the plays on offense. Who is Spencer Whipple? He's 32 years old. He's the assistant wide receivers coach. Wow. He had never called a play at any level, ever.
How's this the guy?
This was the guy because it wasn't just him. It was also Cam Turner, who's the number 2 offensive guy. He also had COVID-19.
Incredible.
So they couldn't have their top 2 offensive minds there. They give the rock to Whipple and say, basically, whip it good, and he does.
All right.
32 years old.
It's a cool whip.
And they kicked the Browns' butts yesterday. They went up and down the field, everything they wanted. Colt McCoy played a big role in this game. He was actually almost like the number 2 guy on that coaching staff in the ear of them. That's adversity to me. You know, that's real. That's better than falling down 10 points and having to come back. They're taking play calls from that guy. And Chris, I know you know Mark Whipple, his father, but you also know Spencer as a kid?
Yes, he went to St. Thomas, and St. Thomas in Fort Lauderdale produced all those players. His dad used to come to practice. You could tell he was a gym rat early. Dad didn't want any benefits for the kid, and it's great to see how he's gone through the coaching realm. He's paid it, quality control, you know, volunteering, all those low jobs to get his call with COVID-19 breaks out. It was his day, and man, he stepped up to the moment.